couple of, about 6 weeks ago, Mr. Dean did a very nice presentation, Johnny Wooden, and his presentation was very good, and I wanted to follow up with that and the Pyramid of Success. Mine is Ben Howland's Circle of Despair. And I think most of you know that Ben Howland is the UCLA basketball coach. And it's kind of a satire, but things that I wanted to talk about here today. I got into this business kind of at an older age. Most of you guys got into this business in your 20s. I'd had a successful sales career, and I got into it by about 31. And I went to work with my dad, and loved my dad. My dad was very successful, but my dad was not a very good teacher. And I talked with Dave about this. So in of Despair, I have individual mentoring and training. Very, very important, and it's more important than you guys can ever realize, because if you don't get the basics, if you're not being shadowed by a trainer, it can be very, very difficult for you. So it's really important to get the kind of training to continue to on in this business. I didn't really put these in any kind of order, but I feel another real important situation is returning phone calls. And I see other guys and other companies, and they don't do that. And it's not just the owner of a property. It's not just a guy that maybe is trying to get a comp, which I don't like giving comps that much, but I'll get into that later. But it's really important to return phone calls in a very timely manner, because I think it's really important in your business. The other thing, which is always a cliche, don't overpromise if you can't deliver. I see more people, I've worked with people in the past that they tell you one thing and then they can't follow through, but they think they do. They really believe that they're doing them, and they're doing themselves a real injustice. One of the other things that I've always been mentoring is respectful to the staff. These ladies are really important for what we do, and you've got to be cognizant of that. I know there's time frames that you get real pushy with a situation. If you can, plan what you can out, try to get it to them, and don't bug them, and really work with them in getting your whatever it is out. And I'm not saying it because she's standing here, but I didn't think anybody would be here from the staff. I think one of the other things too here is working your geographic area, and I think it doesn't go for retail, but it does really go for our office and industrial. If you have a bigger requirement that, let's say, is going to make you money, then you can go down to El Cajon or National City, but you can't chase some of these things, because I think it's going to take your time away from it. You're much better off to refer a deal down to somebody, get something out of it, make the deal work. The other thing too, and I know there's a few guys here, it's working with a partner. And one of the things that I've seen, because I've worked with partners in the past, it's knowing your partnership and knowing how you share your responsibilities. It's really important, and I know that you guys have a really good partnership, and I know that you guys, what I've seen just from looking is that, if there's a problem, I think one and two you would go to each other and say, hey, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And that's not what I'm trying to say here, but I'm just saying, if and when somebody here gets into a partnership down the road, that you got to understand your responsibilities and knowing what to do when you do it, and so forth.
Listen up, Mark, will you?
The other one is, another thing is playing fair but play tough. This is a tough business, and if you don't stand your ground, someone's going to run you right over. And it's okay to play tough. You got to be out there, know what you're doing, and hold your ground. I really have seen people try to run over me, and I didn't like it, and I would say, well, I'm never going to do a deal with that guy again. Well, that's not true. You can't ever say that. You don't want to, but there's an opportunity to do a deal with somebody. You just better know the situation, how he reacts to it, because he may have a property, or you may have a listing that his client wants, and you can't. I was damned and determined I was never going to do stuff with certain people again, but I ended up doing business with them again and making deals. When I talked about the territory that you work, about getting too far out of it and not, not servicing, trying to service somebody maybe in the Marina District and so forth. The other thing that goes with that is knowing your territory. And I know you always hear this, but know what's going on in the geographic area that you are working. Know who's in the city, who's the mayor, what's happening with there, what deals are going on. I know that Marco and Isaac really pretty much know what's going on in the industrial segment and in the geographic areas that they work. And they pretty much work all five. So it's really important to know. You can't know everything, but I think someone went to an open house recently and heard Tucker Hohenstein talk, and I heard that his market knowledge was impeccable of the areas, but that he is working. He's working on pretty much all of them. So the more you know, the better off you're going to be with a client, an owner. One of the other things that I'm highly in favor of is waterboarding your clients. No, not really. But be respectful to them and do what you can. One of the things that probably a lot of guys use, and I've used it for a long time, is just a notebook like this. And it's really helpful to do it on a pretty much a daily basis. And you date it. I know there's other ways that people are making notes in their computer and so forth, but when you're doing stuff on the phone, I instead of using slips of paper and so forth like this, use something like this where you can date it, and probably everybody does use something like this. But it's really beneficial because you can go back, and I even have things in here that I've highlighted that I think are a little bit more important that I can go back and find very easily. I always think it sounds crazy, but always have some money in your pocket. Always don't let yourself get in a situation where you're out with a client or you're out doing something and you're stumbling around and you're trying to buy them a cup of coffee or something and you don't have any money. Now I know debit cards and so forth, but I'll always try to carry $150 or 100, try to carry some money.
Oh, a big spender.
It brings a lot of coffee.
I mean, try to do that. I think it's...
You meant a cup of coffee with your steak.
Well, whatever. One of the things that I'm not very good at all is public speaking. And one of the things I think that a lot of you guys, some of you guys are very good at it. But I did do Toastmasters for a while. It helped me. I'm much better with a smaller group of people. As I've probably talked before, I've coached a lot. I'm really good with young kids, relating to them and trying to teach them to do certain sports. But Toastmasters, and they're all, what are you laughing about, Dave?
No, someone mentioned Sandusky.
Someone. He mentioned Sandusky.
Dave, I'm coaching him, not showering him.
You're much, Julie.
And that's pretty much it. Why I'm wearing this is there's always going to be one chief, and we're going to have the rest of us are Indians, and kind of know your role. And the thing that with a good manager too is he has that door open if we have a problem, if we have a situation, and he doesn't shy away from those kind of situations, which I've seen, and he's always open for someone to come in and find out if there's a solution to a situation or a problem. And that's pretty much it for the last 10 minutes.
Very good.
It's kind of like, I think the real important thing that I really want to get over here is get trained properly. I did not. I had to learn the hard way. I think it took me a little bit longer because I was always trying to find out things on my own, which is okay. I mean, I sold before, but when I was coming into the business, a lot of guys were coming out of IBM and a few other they were selling copy machines and so forth, and that's what was coming into the business in our time frame. I'm older than him, but that's what was happening. And I didn't have that luxury. I was actually in the giftware business for a number of years, which was quite different, and I was successful at it. But this business can be a tough business, and you can make a lot of money, but you gotta know what you're doing to get things rolling. That's it. Any questions?